This is exciting. I've wanted to teach this lesson for a while. It's called Zenith, and the person that started this work, his name is Moshe Feldenkrais. He originally did this lesson in Paris. It's actually in French, but a bunch of colleagues translated the whole series, and he did this for actors and musicians, and so it's really interesting just to think about that and the context of the class and for who it was for. And so yeah, so it's called Zenith, which is the point that is directly above you in the like celestial space. It's like directly above you, and it's like the highest point because given that the world is a circle, it's in a, oh, there's somebody else. So yeah, so given that the earth is round, and if you believe in a flat earth, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I just want to define a couple of ideas, some things, so that you don't get lost, because I was actually lost the first couple of times that I did this lesson because I didn't really know what things meant. So yeah, so zenith is the point that is the highest from where you are in the celestial bodies in the sky. And omnipotence is, I thought it was like that you could never die. I thought it was that, but it's not actually that. It's that you are everywhere and you are a part of everything. So we're going to kind of be talking about omnipotence, and also and then I also want to explain a little bit about Feldenkrais, because in case you haven't ever done it before. So Feldenkrais is done really slowly. It's done with real care and curiosity in the process. So when you do it, it's important to do what's comfortable, what's easy, what comes naturally, and also to examine and think about what you're doing. And the reason being is that it's really the process of learning organically is just through kind of making mistakes and exploring and finding what's comfortable. And then in that whole process, you end up being like, there's like a little spark, like a little curiousness, and then your body actually kind of like takes that in and records that and keeps this information, so that when you go on in your daily life, you have this like toolbox of things that you kind of discovered when you were on the floor, and you can use that when you want, and you don't even have to really think about it. That's the best way I can explain it, because this stuff is so deep and so complex, and just like life. Feldenkrais for me is life anyway. So how about we start on your back? You can lay down. For those who are new, make sure to have things around you so that you, in case you need like support, so some padding, some towels, so that you make sure that in every position you are comfortable. It's important in Feldenkrais again to search for your most comfortable position. You always want to be easy and have a really nice time. Don't not feeling too like tired. You want to go for the easy, calm, and especially because it's Valentine's Day, and you want to do this for yourself. So yeah, let's start off. We call these parts a scan, so you can lay down on the floor, and I like to start off with this idea of an imprint. What is the imprint that your body is making on the floor? If you were to have like a lot of ink that was on your back, what's the mark that it would leave? If there was a paper, if you were if you were back in kindergarten and you were doing those little art projects where you lay on the floor with some ink and the ink was all over your back. What's the imprint? In other words, is there places that would be more dark? They would be darker. Are there places that would be lighter? Are there places there would be no ink? Are there places that would be closer to each other or farther from each other? What's the general imprint? What is the general idea of yourself on the floor? And 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 speaking of you know, kindergarten and school, imagine yourself as if you were lying on the earth, so that your belly button is at the equator. And so how does that imagination, how do you create that kind of image in yourself? You imagine the earth and all of its roundness, and where are you in that? And how do you lay so that your head is pointing towards the North Pole, your feet are pointing towards the South Pole, but you're on this round shape, this round earth. And your belly button is directly on the equator, directly in the middle of the earth. And now there's a plane that divides you in half, and it starts from your forehead and it goes from the North Pole to the South Pole. And I want to always bring back this idea of roundness, this idea of a circular earth. So the plane splits you in half from your forehead, and it goes in between both nostrils, in between both lips. It cuts, not cuts, but I don't like that word. It goes in between your spine and through your stomach and through your genitals, through your legs, and in between your ankles. And the plane comes back in the opposite direction, and it comes again between your ankles, between your legs, between your genitals, your belly button, your spine, your chest, your neck, your mouth, your nose, your eyes, your eyebrows, and your forehead. And and the next time that the plane goes down, and with your eyes closed, can you watch the plane? And the plane again is traveling above you, and also because the earth is round, it's creating a horizon. It's creating a place where you no longer see the plane, but you kind of know that it's there. So can you watch the plane coming up from the north? And you kind of watch it until it comes into view in your eyes. And you watch it go and come in between your body. And then the plane goes back down the south. And it goes back down, and notice at the point where you don't see the plane anymore. And then the plane comes back. It comes back up through from the south. And it's heading towards the north. And again, the plane is coming in between everything. And and in your own pace, you can do this, and I'll just ask some questions. So, are there parts where the plane seems less in the middle? Are there parts where the plane feels like it jumps, it skips? Or do you have a whole and complete picture of the line that the plane draws in between yourself? And you can even imagine like that smoke that comes out of the plane's exhaust. You can imagine that line that's crossing in between yourself, that is splitting you in half. I forgot to mention that I'm also going to be reading some things in the original manuscript, because he said some beautiful things, and this lesson can be very spiritual. So let yourself really feel however you want to feel. No feeling is silly. And so now you're still on the earth, and the earth is round, and and now the planes have stopped going from north to south, and now they go from east to west. So follow the plane in its trajectory from the east, and you look at the plane, and it's coming, and it's at the equator. So you let the plane come, and you let the plane just draw a line that splits you again in the middle of yourself and around your belly button. And it's coming from east to west, and you can watch it. Where can you see the plane? And it's coming up, and then where do you see it going down to the west? When do you begin to when do you not see the plane anymore? When does the plane disappear from your eyesight? I also want to mention that this lesson can be very emotional for some people, so you can just let those emotions come out. And now the plane is coming from west to east. And at one point, do you start to see the plane again? Again, the world is round. Can you follow the whole path that the plane is making from the west to the east? Are there bumps along the way? Maybe you can even slow down, make the plane go a little bit slower so that you can fine-tune the exact trajectory that the plane is making. And at that point where the two planes have crossed, if you look up from there, that is the place, that is the zenith, the place that is the highest point from which you are. And can your eyes look up from there? And in another way, can you be that? Can you be all of that? Can you let yourself be that which is everything? That word that I spoke of before, omnipotence. If the world is round, can you let yourself be can you let yourself be one with the world? As silly as that may sound. And can you, with your eyes, can you spot that place, that zenith place, that place that is the highest point? And also when you were looking at the plane, how far away was the plane from you? You can imagine whichever plane you liked more, whichever direction, east to west, north to south. How close was the plane to your body? How close was it to your face? How close was it to your eyes? And another way to ask this question is how big is the earth? And how big are you? Are you the size of the earth? In which case the plane would come very close to your face. Are you smaller than the earth? In which case it would be very far away from your face. And whichever one you kind of were imagining, that's very right. And so really gently and really easily turn onto your right side. If being on the side is really uncomfortable for you, then you don't have to do it. You can stay on your back. It's really important for you to feel completely comfortable. And you can have your knees bent one on top of the other. And your hands are just laying on your chest or on your body, however is comfortable, however is the most comfortable for you. So it's important that at any moment that this is uncomfortable, you turn onto your back and you take a rest. Another thing that we do in Feldenkrais to make things comfortable is adding padding under the head, like I mentioned before, so that your head doesn't take such a dip onto the floor. So your head would be supported by the floor. So you can go ahead and get yourself that. I can give you a couple seconds to grab what's around you. And so now you're still on the earth. The earth is round. You are round. Or can you be round? And really slowly, and as if you were omnipotent. Who is omnipotent? As if you were like a god, as if you were a god, as if you were whole and easy. You just simply bring up your hand and you, with your index finger, you point as if you bring it up to the zenith, to that high point. And so, how did you do that? How did you do that? Yeah, exactly. You bring it up as if Moshe Feldenkrais brings up this idea of so he says over here, you raised your hand like someone who is most definitely not omnipotent. He says, he who creates the zenith, the north, and the left would lift his arm in the way that it can be seen in the Sistine Chapel in Rome. God reaches his hand out to man. It is painted in such a way that the entire world can see how the power of creation passes to man. So don't move your hand. Don't move. Don't move your hand, but let it lift, like that of the most powerful person in the world. Do it like our God above. No, don't do it. You don't, okay. But there is a way of lifting that conveys the impression that this person, that this arm lifts in order to give life to others, gently, with purpose. So you lift your arm and you just gently point And if that's hard, you can also do it in your imagination. And then you can bring your arm down. Notice again if you breathe when you're bringing your arm. Would a God breathe? Would someone who is omnipotent, would they breathe when they're bringing their arm up? Oh, and to clarify, it's the left arm that you're bringing up. Yeah, it's the left arm. If you're on the right side, then it's the left arm that you're bringing up. But again, how would a God do it? How would somebody so superior, how could they be you? How could you be them? And how could your arm raise to that point? That which is the highest point. And and when you bring up your hand and you point, now bring it up to point at the North Pole. So where is the North Pole? And when it's at the North Pole, when you exhale, so you inhale and then you exhale, and on the exhale you swallow, like you're swallowing your saliva, and then see what happens. See what happens right after you swallow. What happens? And so in this question of where the North Pole is, if you're on a circle, right, and you're still on your side, you're no longer flat. The North Pole is at your head, and the South Pole is at your feet. The equator is at your belly button. Yeah, so the North Pole would be, so pointing at the North Pole would be pointing over your head, where that horizon of the plane was going down. There, that's nice, yeah. Your hands don't have to be so straight though. They can be your fingers. You can let your fingers just relax, and you're just simply pointing. And then on the exhale, you swallow. And directly after that swallowing, there's an inhale. And in that inhale, do you feel that something happens within you? What happens within you? Do you feel that you get a little bit longer? That actually the pointing of the North Pole, that your finger just comes a little bit longer? And now you can bring your whole arm back. Bring it like a God would. Rest it. You can rest it on yourself. So if you're ready, you can bring back your arm to point to the North Pole. And again, do it like a God. Easy. You point. And notice when you're pointing, does your exhale bring you closer to that point, or does it bring you farther from that point? In other words, do you get longer in your exhale or do you get shorter? So you can take a breath in, and then in the exhale, what happens? And then notice in the inhale, if there was a little piece of glitter on your index finger, and you wanted to touch a paper that was just at your hand, just a little bit away from your hand, would the inhale touch the paper or would the exhale touch the paper? And your elbow doesn't need to be bent. You can let your elbow rest on your head even. Yeah, doesn't have to be, if that's comfortable. If it's not, then you can do what you need. And so, again, in an inhale, and you can expand, you can think about you as the earth, you as the omnipotent, you as the feeling, as the being, as the is everything. You become bigger in your inhale, and you become longer so that your finger points a little bit closer to the north. Not that you do that. You don't just do it. Like he says about the hand, you don't just do it with a purpose, but you do it because it happens. You just happen. And that's kind of the idea, the thing that we search for in Feldenkrais is not the doing to do, but it's the doing that is. It's the doing that, it's the finding this ease. Like in the way of walking, when you walk, you don't think about how you do it. You don't think one foot and then the next foot and then the next foot. Bend one knee, bend the other knee. It just happens because you want to walk. So it's the same idea with this. You're pointing towards the north. There's glitter on the tips of your finger. And you're on the earth, which is circular, and you're pointing to the north. And when you breathe, you just happen to get that finger a little bit closer. And so now you can bring your arm back down and you can rest it. Rest it on yourself. And so now, with your leg that is on the floor, the right leg, imagine that there was some glitter on your toe, the big toe, and without the purpose, without the want, and without the desire to do the movement, just simply breathe. Inhale and feel that your bottom leg, your right leg, is coming closer, is pointing, it's becoming a little bit straighter and it's pointing towards the North Pole. But you are a circle. You're omnipotent. You are no need to fix the camera. It's fine. Yeah, you are big. You are wide. You are whole. But there's no need to separate the legs. There's no need to lift the legs. There's no need to do anything in particular with the legs. You're just feeling. And it could be even a lengthening of a millimeter. But it's just that your toe, it just points. And how does that happen? If you're a circle and if you are on the earth and the earth is circular, and so you can stop doing that. You can let yourself just relax a little bit. And now turn onto the left side. But if you change orientation, if you change where your head is in space, then you have to change it with the earth, right? So that the north is always at your head. Make sure that you still remember where you are in space. And with the top arm, with the right arm, as if you are a god, as if you just lift your arm up to lift it up. And then you find the zenith point, that highest point above. And then you find the North Pole, your North Pole. And if your finger had a little bit of glitter on it, not stretching, just gentle, just gentle. And then you inhale, you swallow, and you exhale. Does your finger touch that paper easily? Does your finger touch the North Pole more easier? And where are you in space? Where do you sense yourself? And on an inhale, when you inhale, you let the air move in you kind of like a circle, like the earth. Like you can do everything. When that air comes in, now do you feel that you can touch that wall or touch that paper with the glitter that's on your finger? Not because you're stretching, just because you're inhaling, just because you are everything. Just because everything is you, and the North Pole is you, and the South Pole is you. And so you can bring your arm down. And with the bottom leg, the left leg, if you had some glitter, just a little bit of glitter on your toes, and you wanted to put a little bit of glitter on the South Pole, but yourself, your body, the whole being, the whole existence, everything that is everything is you. You're omnipotent. You're God. You are everything. It's not a stretch, and it's not a bring to, and it's not a exercise. It's a being. It's an inhale, and it's an expansion, and it's becoming closer. And I'm going to read another little passage, and you can do this. You can keep doing that. You can take little breaks in between. Every child knows that the world turns around herself, that the world exists for her. If this were not the case, she would never be able to grow up and become something. It is only by continuing like this that you begin to understand, too, that this is also immaturity. We need to be able to accord importance to ourselves in our own private world. There is nothing more important than oneself. As long as I am alive, the sun shines for me, and you are born for me. Everything I see, everything that mankind has ever done was done for me. In my personal world, there is nothing more important than me. And you, in your world, there is nothing more important than you. You can change your husband, lose your children, have others, but it is your world. It is each our worlds. In that world, there is nothing more important. The whole world turns around us. The North Pole is above us. The South Pole is there, relative to us. The right is to one side, relative to us, and the left. When I exhale, I contract, and the whole world contracts. When I inhale, look, I become more significant. I increase in volume. I know how to do it. Now, outside, there are other worlds, but in my world, I am the most important thing that you need to know. The world needs to turn around us. But as we live in a society, there are other people also with their own worlds. And in comparison with the whole world, we are insignificant, nothing. You have to ensure that your world, our world, is acceptable to the others who are here with us. I just love that statement. That's so deep. So where are you? This lesson is I chose this one for Valentine's Day because it makes me think of how it's like so often about others. It's about someone else. And I think about the people who I love, the kinds of people that I love to work with, which are people who want to learn to be for themselves and to move for themselves. So what is that? What would that be like to move for yourself? And to let the inhale and the exhale and the movement not be for someone else. How can you let my question of bringing your finger to the north and bringing your toe to the south, how can you let it be something that is not for me, but for you? So in other words, how can you be omnipotent? How can you be for yourself and of yourself? And you can try the bringing your arm, bringing it to Zenith, the point which is the highest. And maybe that has even changed for you. Has it changed? So bring it to the zenith, that highest point. And then slowly bring it to north. But you are a God. You are everything. You are everything that is. And when you inhale, where are you? When you inhale, where are you? And your toe to South Pole. When you inhale, how long are you? When you exhale, how short are you? And where is the earth? In this position, where is Zenith? Where are the countries? Where are your countries? On the map that is you. You're laying on earth, but can you also let yourself be the earth? The earth is round. And in this, you can also look throughout yourself, look through places that are not wanting to be shorter, that are not wanting to be longer. And just breathe in those areas. Just think about those areas. What are these places that are not omnipotent? Can they be omnipotent? And so everyone come onto your back. Really gently just roll over, come onto your back. And just gently cross your arms over your chest, not tightly, just as if you're, when you lean against the wall and you're waiting for something to happen and your arms are just gently crossed, just really easy. Your fingers aren't crossed though. As if you're just, you're like a cool kid outside of school and you just gently cross your arms. And now your eyes are looking towards Zenith, which is that highest point, the highest point that is everything. And you just gently start raising your head as if you are looking at Zenith and you want it to come towards Zenith. But don't do it in a way that is not omnipotent. Do it in a way that is easy. What would that be like? What would that be like? And if it's hard, then you can imagine it. And your head obviously doesn't go all the way towards Zenith because that's impossible. And you can try that when you inhale. You expand, you become bigger. And at the same time, your hands can come towards your forehead. Not that they touch, but they're just coming in the direction. So your head comes up and you're looking towards Zenith, and your arms, but your arms don't need to go to your forehead. They're just going in the direction. They're just going in the direction. So they stay where they were. So you bring them back to where they were in that lazy way. And then they just come in the direction. And because they were crossed on their path towards not being crossed, they actually separate. And they get wider. They go away from each other and they come towards your forehead. And your forehead comes towards your hands, towards your arms. Like in a circle. But it's not going towards the North Pole, right? It's going towards your forehead. And your forehead is coming towards your arms. So then you bring your arms back down. But your arms are crossed over your chest. Not tightly, just like if you were just leaning against a wall and you just had nothing to do and you were just waiting, you can even cross them like just like on your stomach almost, like you're just like one of the cool kids. You're just one of the cool kids. And you're relaxed, and then your eyes are looking towards the zenith, that point. And your head slowly comes towards there. And your arms come towards at the same time, but they don't touch. They don't have to touch. That's all. That's all. And then come back. That's all. And then you come back. And now after doing that, where are you on the earth? You can uncross your arms and lay them down. And again, if a plane were to cross from the north to the south, how would you see that plane? Where would you see it? Where does it start coming up? How close is it to your head, to your eyes? And if it was from the east to the west, where does the plane come from? And just slowly, you can come up to standing really slowly like a god, like you're omnipotent, like you're easy, like you're gentle. And when you reach standing, you can just gently walk around. Feel yourself on the floor. And that's this lesson.